Alright guys, I've got a haul video for you today, and I've done a ton of haul videos on the channel. There are many of them. You can go catch them if you haven't caught them. You can watch all the different fragrances I bought, but I've never done one of these. Today I'm doing a Marshalls haul video. Fragrances that I bought from Marshalls, a bag full of them here. Very, very cheap and expensive, mostly men's fragrances. I've got a woman's fragrance. I've got more of a skincare type of a product for men as well. But all of these beauty products, I should call them, are purchased from Marshalls. Very, very discounted prices. And you know, when I was buying these, I decided to look up the prices. So I did a little bit of compare and contrast to see what they have available elsewhere that I can buy for cheaper. Either way, a ton of fragrances from Marshalls today in this Marshalls haul video coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, it's a Marshalls haul video today. It's funny, I went to my mom's a week or so ago and I decided to hit up Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and Ross. Ross had hardly anything that I wanted. There was probably one fragrance, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do a haul video with one fragrance. I visited TJ Maxx as well, and also I didn't find anything there either. But once I hit Marshalls, I was shocked at the amount of stuff there were there. And there weren't like the most amazing things, but they were stuff that I had worn in the past and some stuff I was curious about. So I picked them up, and I'm going to let you know what they're all about today. I'm going to let you know what the price was, if it's a men's fragrance, if it's a woman's fragrance, if it's unisex. Also let you know how much each one is selling currently at Fragrancenet, because this is where I check for fragrances to make sure that I'm getting the best deal. Either way, I'll let you know what these fragrances are, but before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So I've got my mug with strips here, and I'm going to dig into this bag, and the first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Calvin Klein's CK1 Shock. So this fragrance was selling for $19.99 at Marshalls, but currently the same size, it's 100 ml, is selling at Fragrancenet for $18.84. So I'm a bargain shopper, I'll let you know, but I decided to pick this one up because it was convenient rather than me ordering it online. So the thing is, I got charged sales tax here, and I don't know, does Fragrancenet charge sales tax? I think they do charge sales tax now that I think about it. So basically, I'm losing out on about $1 as I can get this for a little less expensive. And when I'm referring to Fragrancenet, and I'm going to refer to Fragrancenet for most of everything here because it is selling there, I'm referring to that price with the 35% off discount code. So that's the cheapest fragrances you can get from Fragrancenet if you use that 35% discount code. And I've done videos on how to shop for fragrances at Fragrancenet. Basically, you search for the fragrance on Google and you click on the fragrance when it shows up for Fragrancenet, and there it'll give you the most discounted price of 35% off. If you go directly to Fragrancenet, you're not going to get that 35% off. At least I don't. But either way, let's discuss this one. It's CK1 Shock. It's a fragrance I've worn, and I've actually given this to my nephew as well. He's liked this one, but I wanted to pick it up again because it is, after all, a tobacco-ish fragrance, and I haven't smelled it since the early 2010s. This is the bottle right here, CK1 Shock. I like that whole neon kind of, spray painted kind of look on here, which is kind of fun. I like that about it. So this actually is a flanker to the original CK1, which was a unisex targeted scent. This is a for men targeted fragrance, and it's created by Gottlieb, who I don't see the name come up too frequently, but she did this one apparently. And the notes are tobacco, cardamom, lavender, amber, patchouli, black pepper, clementine, woods, and musk. So, you know, I originally thought that there was tonka beans in this, but maybe it's not. But I always thought that I smelled tonka in this fragrance. Either way, let's see how it is currently. How many of you are fans of this one? It's very, very inexpensive. Calvin Klein's under Coty as a brand, and the fragrances do end up at discounters quite a bit. So let's see how this one is. You know, I really do enjoy this one. It's that kind of it's like a fougere to me. It's like a tobacco-ish fougere. It kind of hints at something like Dreamer. Not quite, but yes it does. I like it. I really do like this one. It's fresh, it's herbal, it's aromatic, it's tobacco-ish. It doesn't smell ashy. It smells spicy. I like the cardamom here and the lavender. So I enjoy this one. How many of you is a fan? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. So that's the first of 2 Calvin Klein fragrances I'm discussing here. And Calvin Klein I've actually kind of dismissed for a long time. I was a big fan of Calvin Klein fragrances going back to the late 80s, early 90s, and then I kind of dismissed them, and I came back at the end of the 90s and smelled and bought a bottle of one of the original Calvin Klein fragrances, and since then I have not worn a single, well, I have worn this and I've given it to my nephew, but since then I haven't really done much. I recently also picked up the original CK1, but I was testing it out and it's very, very light, so light, so light. But I kind of like this one, even though it's an eau de toilette and probably will not last. I like the way it smells, at least as a smell. It's quite good. This is a fragrance that was launched in 2011, which I forgot to mention. So that is CK1 Shock from the house of Calvin Klein. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Calvin Klein Eternity for Men Summer 2019, which I bought 100 ml for $24.99. So I actually lost a little money on this one as well, because Fragrancenet is currently selling this for $22.09, which was also funny because on the same page for this product they also list a 2020 version, which was a little higher, and then they also list a tester version of this, which is also higher than the sealed product for $22.09. So I got it for $24.99, and of course, so it's a few dollars more. But let's see how this one is. I wore I wore Eternity in 1990 and also 1991, the original, and I have never worn a flanker of Eternity whatsoever. So let's see how this is. This is going to be kind of like almost flashbacky for me because I haven't done any Eternity for a long time. This is the bottle right here. Most likely, if it's a summer, it looks like it could be aquatic. Who knows? Who's a fan of this one? Let me know. This fragrance is created by Laurent Le Guernec. Okay, it's very light, it's very fresh, it's a little salty, it's definitely aquatic. This one features notes of bergamot, sea salt, musk, sage, basil, lime, coriander, cedar, amber. This is the kind of fragrance that you would overspray. It's very, very light. I'm not saying it's minimalistic, but it's for like really, really hot days when you're like really sweating and you want like something like really, really uber fresh and aquatic and marine. Thankfully, it doesn't smell as fishy as some aquatic fragrances do, but I'm not wearing it. I'm testing it on a strip, and with my chemistry, it might bring out a little more of a, kind of a marine smell. But it's a pleasant smell. I kind of like it. And now I kind of want to revisit the original Eternity when I wore it way back in 1990-91. I actually wore, I forgot to mention, I actually also wore Escape for Men, which I don't even know if that exists anymore. That whole series of fragrances called Escape. Either way, this is a male targeted release. It's Eternity for Men Summer 2019. So this one I decided to just give it a try. It was sealed, but not quite sealed. This is from the house of DSQUARED. This is DSQUARED Wood for Men. So this one was $22, and I took a chance. I thought, okay, it's marked down from 26 to 22, but the sad thing was I didn't really pay attention. It's a 50 ml bottle, so 50 ml bottles are not my favorite. I like the larger bottles, but I don't know. Is it a good fragrance? I'm not sure. It's kind of in a like a messed up packaging, and this is my very, very first DSQUARED fragrance. I've never worn a single DSQUARED fragrance whatsoever, but I did a little investigation, and it's currently selling as 100 ml on Fragrancenet for $35.74. So if you multiply this times 2 at 22, it's 44. So it's definitely, I'm losing money on this one in comparison to what I could buy from Fragrancenet, but as I said, I took a chance and we shall see how it is. It's a little beat up, the packaging obviously, and I just wanted to try something from DSQUARED, and since it was there, I grabbed it. I just grabbed a bunch of stuff. This is the bottle right here, and I like that whole maple leaf on top of the cap there, and then I like the maple leaf. I love this maple leaf. I'm a big fan of maple leaves. And we shall see how this is. But this is created by Alberto Morillas. Man, that guy gets around. I follow him on Instagram, and he has some really great photos. Like recently I saw a photo of him with Bikilian doing something with Cistus labdanum in some kind of a field. This features notes of white woods, violet leaves, vetiver, ginger, cardamom, bergamot, lemons, mandarin orange, vetiver, and ambroxan. So I'm not holding my breath on this one. We shall see how it is. So let's try it. But yeah, I should say again, Alberto Morillas does get around. He makes so many fragrances. I can't keep up with the guy. With this one, it's not breaking any ground, any new ground, I should say. I mean, a lot of these designer fragrances are not, for sure. I don't even know why I keep trying, but what I'm smelling here, it's quite pleasant. It's a pleasant, fresh, woody fragrance. Lightly ozonic. The violet leaves adds that ozonic layer. Kind of watery. There's a watery touch. I like violet leaves in fragrances. It's a little vegetal, but I can definitely pick up the ginger, pick up the light woodiness, and it's contrasted nicely with the violet leaves. I don't hate this one. It's quite nice. It's pleasant. Again, it's an eau de toilette, so I think this will... it is an eau de toilette, yeah. I don't think it's going to have the best performance, but who knows. But this is my entry level, or entry to the house of D Squared. I believe this is a Canadian house, and I'm curious to try more from this house. Let me know who's tried this, and let me know what you have from this house and what you enjoy from the house, and if it's worth trying further. Now, the only reason I bought this is because it was at Marshall's, very discounted, but I should have double checked on this one. I thought this sticker would be a better deal, but obviously 100 ml on Fragrancenet for $35 is even a better deal. So anyway, let me know if you're fans of this or this house. All right, the next fragrance I think everybody knows about. It's a very popular men's fragrance that came out in the 80s, and I felt like this was a great deal. But either way, it's a good deal, but still you can get really great deals on Fragrancenet. This is Davidoff's Cool Water. And I haven't discussed this fragrance on the channel ever. In fact, I actually dabbled in it a little bit, and I wore something similar to this, somewhat similar, called Aspen for Men from Coty. So I kind of stayed away from this one. This is created by perfumer Pierre Bourdon, a very well-known, more classic men's, not men's, but perfumer for fragrances. And it's got a following. I bought it for $24. As you can see, it's discounted. But it's currently selling at $27.29, and this is a 200 ml bottle, so it's a large bottle. This originally came out in 1988, and as I said, it's probably what was one of the first aquatic fragrances, and it's got a huge following. So let's open this one up and see how it is. Who's a fan of Cool Water? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. I know it's got a following, but people compare this to Green Irish Tweed from Creed, and as I said, I compare it to something like Aspen from Coty, which I wore before this. And let's spray it. It's a huge bottle, 200 ml. I'm anticipating something very light with this one. Yeah, it's that kind of herbal aromatic, kind of green touches contrasted with watery. I could go to the extent of saying that there's ozonic touches here, but according to the notes, there's seawater, lavender, mint, green notes, rosemary, cologne, coriander, sandalwood, neroli, musk, tobacco, and geranium. It's definitely very aromatic, and also has a lot of metallic touches, very cool, crisp, watery. It doesn't get much fishy on from here. I don't know if it will on me, but you know, this is very pleasant. It smells really nice. And I really do like that bottle. It brings back memories when this was very popular. I'm assuming it's still very popular. And I haven't done much Davidoff fragrances on the channel. This is my second in the collection that I have. Or maybe there's one more that I have. But I kind of want to explore this house a little further. I've just completely neglected it. And I want to come back to it and see what else they have. I know they have Youp, that's one of the fragrances. Zeno Davidoff is the one that I have from this house that I really love. And this one actually is quite nice. I think it'll be perfect on a very hot day. And we're going into Indian summer days very soon. And I'm going gonna pull this one out and see what it is. And I don't hate it. I think it's very, very pleasant. It's very, very aromatic. It's very, very green, and it's more aquatic rather than marine. But let's see how it is on me rather than smelling it off the strip. But let me know if you're a fan of this one. Do you enjoy it? Do you like it? Or do you hate it? And do you prefer the Green Irish Tweed more? One thing I should say, this in a comparison to Green Irish Tweed, this does seem a thinner version of Green Irish Tweed. When I smell Green Irish Tweed, it does smell a little more oomfier, beefier. This is a watered down version. But if you don't mind a watered down version, I think this will be a great alternative to Green Irish Tweed. Anyway, Davidoff Cool Water, launched in 1988, created by Pierre Bourdon. So the next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Mont Blanc. This is Individuel. So this one also was discounted. As you can see, it was $16. This is a 50 ml bottle as well. So I looked up on Fragrancenet. They did not list a 50 ml. They did list a 75 ml for $25.34. So I'm not going to do the math now. I think the $25.34 would be a better deal for the 75 ml, but it's not going to be that much of a difference. I think this is still a great price, and if you're not into buying things online, I think definitely a good price. And this is also created by Pierre Bourdon, who also created Davidoff Cool Water, and he is very well known. He doesn't do much now. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he's done some great fragrances. He did French Lover for Frederic Malle, but he's done a lot more, you know, famous, well-known perfumes and fragrances. How many of you is a fan of Mont Blanc's Individuel? This is my second bottle. I've worn this before. When I first started doing YouTube reviews back in 2012, I had a bottle. In fact, I might still have a little bit left. That's Mont Blanc's Individuel. And that bottle I had bought back in 2012. This one is brand new. Let's see how it is. But this features notes of lavender, raspberry, sandalwood, cinnamon, pineapple, orange blossom, vanilla, dark chocolate, musk, amber, patchouli. A lot of people compare this one to a Creed as well. Wait, did Pierre Bourdon create fragrances that were Creed alternatives or something? This is compared to Original Santal from Creed. I can see the similarities, but you know what? One thing I do want to mention, this seems a lot lighter now than it once was when I wore it. But it's kind of like a creamy, soft, fruity, sweet, lightly aromatic take on a sandalwood fragrance. It's pleasant. It's really pleasant. I like that smell. I really do. This is definitely a solid men's release. If you can't afford the Original Santal, which I don't think it's all that sandalwoody, Original Santal. They call it Original Santal. I have kind of a negative reaction to Original Santal from Creed, and also Original Vetiver. I don't get much Vetiver from Original Vetiver. It reminds me of Mugler's Cologne a little bit. It's kind of like that fresh neroli, citrus, floral, green leaves kind of a thing. And once again here, I don't get that authentic sandalwoody smell. It's sandalwood perhaps because it's got that creaminess, but it's got a lot of aromatic notes and plus the fruits and things like that. So it's not necessarily your full-on in-your-face sandalwood experience, but kind of a lavendery, fruity take on sandalwood. But it's a pleasant scent. I really like it. So that's Mont Blanc's Individuel. Came out in 2003, created by Pierre Bourdon once again, and I bought that for $16. So the next fragrance is from a house called Derek Lam 10 Crosby. I don't know much about this house, but I remember these were at Sephora and Nordstrom's at one time. I never really bought any of them, but I found a bottle of Something Wild, which is targeted to the women, for $16.99. So this is the box right here, and the price is right on it. As you can see, Marshall's for $16.99. Let's open this up. And you know, I bought this because it's a vanilla and sandalwood, and that's a great combination. I couldn't find a perfumer for this one, and this is the fragrance right here. But I like the combination of sandalwood with vanilla, and this is also powdery, so this has been sprayed though also, although it hasn't been that used. And I can totally smell authentic sandalwood here. Now I'm not saying it's definitely authentic, but definitely has the authentic kind of sandalwoody smell with vanilla. It is a little medicinal. It's a little musky and also powdery. It's enjoyable. It's definitely enjoyable. I'm not sure what happened to the brand and why they're at discounters, but this is at Fragrancenet currently for $18.84. So I actually saved money on this one. I think I got a good deal on it, $16.99 compared to $18.84. So if you like the idea of kind of a medicinal sandalwood with vanilla, I think this definitely would be great. I think this will be very, very cozy and comforting come fall when it's cooler out. And if you like those cozy gourmands, creamy sandalwoody, milky kind of fragrances, definitely this is a winner. Definitely it is. It smells really, really great. It does remind me a little bit of something that what does it remind me of? Something that I can't put but I've smelled something like this before this came out. But this came out in 2015, and again, it's targeted to the women. It's definitely not necessarily ultra feminine, because there are unisex fragrances out there similar to this that you can find, you know. But this is a great price. Even $16.99 for a 15 ml, I think, is a great, great price for this. Definitely worth it. If you like I said, those cozy, milky, vanilla sandalwood combos, definitely Something Wild is worth it, I believe, as far as smell goes. And next up is a fragrance I've never worn before. Never wore this one, but I wore the original back in the early 90s, 94 I believe. This is from the house of Hugo Boss. This is Hugo Just Different, selling for $36.99. And Fragrancenet currently sells it for $41.59. So I actually saved money on this. And again, I'm only comparing it to Fragrancenet because I refer to it all the time as far as prices go. There might be cheaper alternatives out there somewhere else, but as far as Fragrancenet goes, it's $41.59. And what happens with the stores, the discounters, is they usually look at one another and kind of price according to one another, and one might price a little cheaper than the other. One might have a discount code you can apply to save. So I'm just basically comparing it to them, and I think I kind of got a good deal on this one. No perfumer mentioned, but let's go ahead and see what this one's all about. And as I said, I wore the original in the clear bottle with kind of a bluish liquid juice. I really loved it. I wore that quite a bit in the early to more like around the almost close to the mid 90s. But this is Hugo Just Different from 2011. So this came out probably about 20 years after the original. This features notes of mint, Granny Smith apple, basil, cashmere, patchouli, freesia, coriander, olibanum, and labdanum. Has anybody smelled this one? Does anybody know it? Do you like it? Let's try it. I think this is a Coty owned brand. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they are. This to me has a very kind of a sharp aromatic experience, but fruitiness does come in. Loads of mint I'm picking up. It's a very, very minty experience with that kind of a juicy, drippy, crisp, crunchy green apple, Granny Smith apple. But there's also like a musky cashmere note here, lightly floral, very lightly, but it's overly spicy with a little bit of a very, very faint resinous, incensey kind of ambery touches in there as well. This is very pleasant. I wasn't aware how good this was. Once again, it's an eau de toilette, and I find all these eau de toilettes, it could have darker notes, but the wearing experience is more appropriate for, like, you know, warmer days. So this actually, I think, can totally be pulled off on a very, very warm day. It's not going to overwhelm, even though it might have a few like warmer, more deeper notes. The overall wearing experience with a lot of these eau de toilettes is very, very light. So you can overspray and it's not going to, unless you're sensitive to fragrances, it's not going to overwhelm. But yeah, I think it's pleasant. The mint and basil contrasted with the Granny Smith apple is quite nice. I really enjoy that one. I mean, it's not anything groundbreaking, but for a very, very very, very warm day, as I said, I think it's pleasant to wear. Now, I don't wear fragrances much like this, but I would see myself reaching for something like this to wear on a very, very warm day if I want something from a designer, if that makes sense. So that is Hugo Boss Hugo Just Different from 2011, and I paid $36.99 for that one, and Fragrancenet is $41.59. So the next fragrance is very, very exciting for me. I wore this one just like I wore the original of that last fragrance. I wore it around the same time, and I haven't bought it since then. It's been a long, long time since I've worn this one. Going to almost 30 years when I wore this one. This is Tommy Hilfiger's Tommy from 1994. I absolutely love this fragrance. This I did not know was created by Alberto Morillas along with another perfumer by the name of Annie Buzantian. As I said, Alberto Morillas does get around. He creates a lot of fragrances, and he did a great job here. I don't know what form it's in currently with its, you know, reformulations and things like that, because I do remember this lasting a long time. It was very, very intense, and I really did enjoy it. So let's open it up and see. The last Tommy Hilfiger fragrance I wore was, I think it was a Tommy, it was called Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger, but it was the leather. It was kind of a grayish bottle, and I wore that probably late 2000s, and then since then I have not bought a Tommy Hilfiger fragrance. So this one, many, many memories with this one. Loads of memories right here. I love this. I wore so much of it. So the notes in this are kind of similar to the notes in the last fragrance. It has Granny Smith apple and mint once again. But they smell so different. And this is also very, very light. Wow. So light. It's so insanely light. I'm shocked at how light this is. Wow. But, you know, it does have a little bit of a you know, reminder of what it used to be. It smells a little different, but according to the notes, it's mint, Granny Smith apples, bergamot, grapefruit, lavender, cranberry, rose, cotton flower, cactus, amber. Wow, that is very, very light. It's insanely light now. This Tommy Hilfiger brand is under Estee Lauder, and I think this has gotten a major butchering in the reformulation department, and very, very like thinning. Sad. Very, very sad. I'm shocked at how thin this is. Kind of like the CK1, also created by Alberto Morillas from Calvin Klein. Very thin compared to what I remember it being. This is so thin. Like, this used to be a beast, but now I think you need to overspray this to even have it last. Let me know who's wearing this particular fragrance currently. Is your fragrance or bottle from now, or was it purchased a long time ago? How much longevity do you get? Again, this is so light, I think it's perfect for a very, very hot day when you overspray it. That's the only way you're gonna make this fragrance last. It is sad, but what can I do? One of my favorite fragrances when I wore this back in the mid-90s, as I said. This is Tommy Hilfiger's Tommy from 1994. I bought it for $24.99. Fragrancenet is selling for $35.99. This is a men's fragrance, and it's created by Alberto Morillas with Annie Buzantian. Okay, the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about, plus I have one more item that I'm going to do in this haul video, is from the house of Nautica. This is Nautica Blue from 2005. Bought for $16.99. Fragrancenet is selling it for $14.29. So I kind of lost money on this one. But in the end, when you look at it, with the amount I lost and with the amount I saved, it kind of like, you know, washes out. So you can buy them at Fragrancenet or you can buy them at Marshall's. If you know, local to a store and you find a bunch and you like the idea of them, I guess snatch them up. But I can totally buy these from Fragrancenet and it'll, you know, come out to be about the same. So I haven't worn a Nautica fragrance in years, and I wore two different ones. The original one of this one in the mid-90s once again, and then there was also Nautica Voyage that I've worn as well. This is one that came out in the mid-2000s, in 2005, and it's created by Maurice Roussel, who also created, I believe he created Nautica Voyage. I'm pretty sure he did. But I probably smelled this a long time ago. I don't remember what it smells like, but this is the bottle right here. And I was a big fan of the original that came out in the mid-90s. Let's see how Nautica Blue is. According to the notes, it's fruity, and we shall see. And Maurice Roussel is a very, very, you know, well-known perfumer, more classic, but he is doing stuff currently. He did. Wow, this is not spraying. Okay, there it goes. He recently did Matcha Meditation for the house of Maison Margiela. So this has notes of pineapple, water lily, sandalwood, jasmine, musk, bergamot, peach, and cedar. Once again, very, very thin. Ultra thin. It's an eau de toilette. These are all eau de toilettes, and you know, it takes some time for it to develop a little bit, to kind of like be distinct, you know, like distinct, but they're such thin fragrances that these you're going to have to overspray. I just think they're very, very fresh. Unless you like your fragrances to be ultra fresh, if you don't want them to stand out, these are perfect fragrances, the ones I'm talking about. I think the most strongest one was the Something Wild, the vanilla and sandalwood. That one had some intensity to it. It's an eau de parfum most likely, but the rest of these fragrances are very, very fresh fragrances. You can also smell the reformulation. They don't smell as oomphy as once they did. They seem a little thin and watered down, because that's the sad part about these fragrances. But once you get past that, it's not as fruity as I thought it was going to be. It's a little aromatic. It also kind of lightly reminds me of Individuel. Not a lot, but a little bit. A little bit. It does have sandalwood in it, but it's different. It goes in a different direction. But I kind of prefer Individuel more than this. This seems a lot more watered down in comparison to Individuel, which seemed watered down in comparison to the one I have or had in the past. Anyway, Nautica Blue, 100 ml for $16.99 I paid at Marshall's in the Sacramento area, but it's currently selling for $14.29 at Fragrancenet, so you can get a better deal there, but you know, it's about $1 or something. And again, this is created by Maurice Roussel, and I'm glad to have it in the collection. I should dig into Nautica a little more, but I'm not the biggest fan of Nautica fragrances. I mean, this one's doesn't seem as good as I wanted it to be. It just seems very thin. Much thinner than the last fragrance as well. Well, no. The Tommy smelled good. It was just overly thin. This one doesn't smell as great as I wanted it to. Plus it's thin, if that makes sense. Nautica Blue. And the last fragrance, which is not really a fragrance, is a product, a body wash from the house of CREMO. CREMO makes men's grooming products, body washes, and shaving things and things like that. And they also have fragrances, but this is one that I bought for $5.99. As you can see here on the CREMO website, it's $8.99, so I saved about $3 for this. This is oak. It's bourbon and oak all-season body wash, and the reason I bought it is because it smells like Santal 33, literally. And according to the very little research I did, I think CREMO also has a fragrance out of this. So most likely, if this smells like Santal 33 to me, then the fragrance itself smells like Santal 33 as well. But this normally sells for $8.99. It's a 473 milliliter bottle for $5.99 is what I paid. So I like having these, you know, scented body washes, especially this one. Even though it's kind of clone-ish, I can actually combine it with Santal 33 whenever I feel like wearing Santal 33. But I actually really like some of their products. Some of their body washes and shampoos I've used in the past. All of them I bought from when I visit my mom and you know, where there's a Marshall's near her, I go. But in the past I bought some of these products even further discounted for $3.99, but this was not further discounted. It was $5.99, but still it's not $8.99. And some of the stores that around me here in San Francisco sell these for $9.99, even $1 more than CREMO. And I don't know if CREMO's suggested retail is $8.99, but I did see it for $8.99. Anyway, that's the last product here. Let me know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you want them? Do you shop at Marshall's or TJ Maxx or Ross for, you know, discounted fragrances, or do you prefer to shop online at places like Fragrancenet? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. Either way, guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.